Okay, well, I've been getting a few messages in asking why prisoners are allowed to work in the kitchens. Well, I'll tell you why. It's because there's about 80,000 people in prisons in the UK. 80,000, okay? That seems to be the government's quota. They like to keep 80,000 people in jail for some reason or other. It goes up and down a little bit, but it generally stays around 80,000. And now 80,000 people need to be fed 3 times a day, 7 days a week. Okay, so they've got 2 options. I mean, let's take a jail like Wandsworth. I don't know how many people are in Wandsworth, but let's just say for argument's sake there's 500 to 1,000 people in that jail. Then there's 500 to 1,000 meals that need to be provided 3 times a day. So if you've got outside catering companies to provide the food, the cost would be astronomical. So what happens is you get a couple of supervisors in the kitchen, and then you mainly got prisoners working in there, preparing and doing all the food, getting it ready for, and then delivering it to the wings for the people to come down from the cells. And they have the servery set up on the ground floor there, and they go along and they get their food and then they go back to the cells. That's how it works. Now, if they had to get outside caterers in to do that, like I said, the cost would be astronomical, because you have to do that for 80,000 people, whereas you can just get a handful of prisoners to go. And I don't know how many people work in the kitchen. Let's just say 20, just off the top of my head. I don't know for a fact. They have to get up really early in the morning to cook the breakfast of the first meal, and they're there until they finish off after the evening and tidy the kitchen away. So it's a long day, and they're paying these people about. They probably get the best wages in the jail. They were getting like £10 a week. A week. Yes, you heard me right. £10 a week each, and that was 30 years ago. So they probably get a little bit more than that now. Maybe they get £20 a week. I don't know what the current rate is. You'd have to ask someone who's current with the things. But if all the prisoners turned around one day and said, no, we're not cooking any food for anyone, well, the screws would have to do it, wouldn't they? And the screws are on top wages, as you know. And they'd all be running down to the kitchens because they'd have to provide the food for the people. They'd be calling outside caterers in. The costs would be shooting up and up and up. And the politicians would be screaming from the roof. So that's why there's always someone who will do that job. So finding people is not actually that difficult to work in the kitchens. Plus the tenner they get a week, they can spend in the canteen once a week. They go to the canteen, they'll buy tobacco with that or whatever they want to buy with it. And if they've got no other source of income, that £10 better than nothing. And a lot of them think, well, working in the kitchen as a slave is better than being locked in a cell. So there's always someone with an incentive to do it, and there's always going to be someone who's prepared to do it, and that's why prisons allow it. They don't mind. They get people in there because they need people in their kitchens to feed the prison population. It's essential. They've got no choice. Otherwise, the costs go right up, and they're always not enough money going around. They're always making cuts everywhere until security gets compromised, and then they have to beef security back up. We have to spend more money, and we haven't got any money to spend, have we? I mean, Boris has gone now. Boris could always pull a few billion out the hat and toss it here and there and off to Ukraine and things like this, and all the equipment, the tanks and stuff like that, ammunition, explosives, guns. They're giving them all to the Ukrainians. Here you go. But you know, when you need money to feed people in jail, oh no, there's no money. So that's the situation that they're in. You know, they need people. They'll always need prisoners to work within the jails doing various boggy jobs. You know, tidying up, cleaning up. That's how the prisons work. They use all the slaves, and they give them, like, it's not even minimum wage. It's just like a joke.